Shalom, shalom, shalom lakam, which is peace unto you all. Anak Nawaha Bar Sha'ale, we the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nachamatam, Kaya, Hamalak Watashamayim, Kwara, repent ye for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, I'm going to say, Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Chai Bahasham, Rachah Kwadash. A double honor to those apostles of great millstone that taught us his truth and rule well. And much respect to you, brothers that are pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincere. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so essentially how the video is entitled, it says Hebrew prefixes, which in Hebrew will be Ibar Yah, Taram, Hadabar, before a word, or a Hebrew before a word, pretty much. But essentially we have prefixes like ba, ha, wa, so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and start with the article. Baba Kusha.
This is the explanations of prefixes. It reads, the prefix "a" means I.
Mm-hmm.
The original meaning of this letter is source, which made it ideal for conventional use as a prefix meaning I, referring to who is the source of what is being spoken.
Right, and I want to actually get that word for source real fast. This is the word for source. So, give me a second. It says source. It says origin, place of origin. It says pedigree. It says beginning. So when we look at the Hebrew alphabet, ha'alat bayat, all right, which means the alphabet. If something is in the beginning, this letter right here would be the beginning. So is the source. That's why when you're speaking, you'll say which means I. Or you might say anya, which means I. But for short and prefixes, it will be because that's the beginning. If someone's speaking, putting in front of a word, that will mean that person is speaking. And we got an example of that in Exodus chapter 3 and verse 14. Could you grab that, Baba Kusha?
It's Exodus chapter 3 and verse 14. And the Most High said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel that I am hath sent me unto you.
Mm-hmm. You keep going.
And the Most High said moreover unto Moses, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, the Lord power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations.
Right. So the Lord's name is Yahweh, which means he exists. You see, and that was in the third person. That's what when we go into this verse right here where it says Lord in all caps, it's Yahweh. All right, but if we go up into verse 14, it says, And the Most High said unto Masha, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Yasha'Allah, I am hath sent me unto you. Now, that's pretty much the Lord speaking in the first person. That's why it says Ahaya, which means I exist. That's the Lord speaking as himself, you see. But when we refer to the Lord, all right, it's Yahweh, for he exists, because that's his name, like that was him speaking in the first person,
Yeah.
So from that, we can go to Baba Kushak. Could you go back to the article?
Okay. Continuing on, it reads, the prefix ba means with. The letter ba was originally a pictograph depicting a tent. The logic behind the prefix is how things can be located relative to a tent. This prefix is often translated as in, on, or by. However, there is just one prefix used, and for clarity, it is recommended to use with one that covers all four meanings, which is with, because that was how it was originally understood.
Now, a couple points in that. It says the prefix ba, which is bayat, it says means with, which more specifically it means in. Now it says the letter bayat was originally a pictograph depicting a tent. The logic behind the prefix is how things can be located relative to a tent, which when you talk about a tent, you can also refer to it as a house, So it says this prefix is often also translated as in, on, or by. You see, which this ultimately goes into Bonsarat 1 and 1. You see, because I'm gonna get that. This is Bonsarat chapter 1. This is Bonsarat chapter 1. and we'll get verse 1, and it says, skip straight to the point, and it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words. You see, because it says come short in some words, because in English you got a word for by, you got a word for with, you got a word for in, you got a word for at. You see, but in Hebrew, all of these would just be ba, bayat, because essentially it shows some type of relation, you know what I'm saying, to the house. You know, that's why we say relative is, you know, you have a relative that's close by, you know. Bayat means something that's close, or if something is with you, that means that it's close by. If it's by you, that means that it's close by. If it's at, it means that it arrived, you know, something to in relation near to you. So ba is the best prefix to use. You wouldn't use ah, you wouldn't use ha, you wouldn't use wa. It would have to be ba, you know. So finishing out, it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret. You see, because not everything's translate from one language to the next. Some words just have to be, you know, just what it is. You know, you have to find the best possible translation for that, or translation, or yeah, translation for that specific word. You know,
Okay.
continuing on, it says, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. You see, so essentially, you know, again, words, you can't necessarily translate every word. You know, so ba will be the best prefix when you want to show something in relation. You know,
Uh,
and
continue.
an example of that, I'm gonna get. Could you get Numbers chapter 1 and verse 20, Baba Kusha?
Uh, Numbers chapter 1, verse 20. The tribe of Reuben. It reads, and the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war.
Khan, it's a lot. I'm gonna run it back. This is Numbers chapter 1 and verse 20. And it says, and the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations after their families, by the house of their fathers. You know, the house, all right, that's another thing, you know, that the house of their fathers, that shows some type of relation. And it also shows, all right, something that's by, something that's with. You know, if you're of the house of Reuben, you know, you would be associated with your father. You know, you will be by your father. You will be in your father's lineage. You know, that's a good example of a house. You know, and this is what the character Ba looks like. You
Okay.
know, it looks like just like looks similar to the English letter B. That's ultimately where the English letter B came from.
Mhm.
It's a lot, bro. Can you read the next one, bro?
Okay, okay. It's the prefix ha. It reads, the letter ha means to be, as in to exist or shall be, as a statement of faith. It is commonly used as a prefix meaning the, which is the equivalent of saying be or exist as. Consider the following example: the English phrase the tree has a Hebrew equivalent that literally means exist as tree, or more simply, be tree.
Right, and this is what how it looks like. All right, it also corresponds with the number 5. I'm gonna run it back. It says the Hebrew prefix ha, which that is hana, which when you say hana, it's saying behold. And when you're beholding something, it either has to it's about to appear. When we go into the scriptures, could you get Genesis 1 and 29, Baba Kusha?
Mhm.
All right, either it's gonna exist or it already has to exist. If you say the water, all right, you got to be referring to something that is already there. You know.
It's, Genesis 1 and 29. And the Most High said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
And that was essentially something that was given, so it had to exist, you know. So going back, it says the letter Hana means to be, or excuse me, means to be as in to exist or shall be. So either it has to exist or it shall be. It says as a statement of faith. It is commonly used as a prefix meaning the. So if you're referring to, if you say, all right, the book, or you have to be referring to a book that already exists, or you have to, if you say the sky, well, the sky is already there. It has to be something that is existing, currently, or something that's going to occur. It says commonly used as the prefix meaning the, which is equivalent of saying be or exist as. Consider the following example. The English phrase, the tree has a Hebrew equivalent that literally means exist as tree, or more simply, be tree. It has to be a tree, or it has to exist as a tree. That's why ha is used, because when you say ha na, it means to behold. Like when you say behold, you're bringing attention to, like, look at this.
Mhm. Uh, Continuing on, the prefix wa, the letter wa evolved from the pictograph of a tent peg used to join things together. So it makes sense that it's commonly used as a prefix meaning and.
So this character right here is used as, and it said a tent peg, because if you was to tie like a rope right here at this thing right here, it would make it to where it wouldn't slip off on these two right here. It'd be the stake right here, and then it has it's almost like a U shape right here. But the essentially how it would be a rope going to a tent. So it means it's something that's fastened and joined, because Y also goes into join. So if something is joined, it means to add. So could we also get Exodus chapter 26 and verse 32?
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 26, and verse, you said 22?
32.
32. Exodus 26 and 32. And thou shalt hang it upon 4 pillars of shittim wood overlaid with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold upon the 4 sockets of silver.
Right. And those hooks are Y goes into a nail, a peg, or a hook. So when you hook with the hook, you essentially you add, or you attach something. So that's why Y is used as and, because when you think about it spiritually, all right, what does Y actually do, in the physical world? It attaches things. So if I'm using it as a language, essentially it's going to act as an attachment. So if you say, if you want to add something, you'll add. If you say I want more, or excuse me, if you say more, sometimes it might say more over. A lot of times in English it'll say why before that specific word.
Okay. Because it's like when you say and, like it says, you're joining 2 things together. So
Right.
you've got the first subject and the second subject, right? And to add
Hmm.
them together, right? Join them together, you would use wa.
Right.
This is the prefix, continuing on, the prefix wa, or it's like ya.
So like, it was just a little bit more inside why.
Okay, okay,
Oh, wait, was it? No, you good.
okay. The prefix ya, the meaning of the letter ya, or what is it? Yad. So yad is to bring forth, in a sense of creating or making something. This concept is directly related to how the ancient Hebrews defined males. The
Hmm.
Hebrew word for son is
Bond.
the ban kan. It's a
Hmm.
ban, and is related to the word banya,
Bana.
but not, which means build.
Right. So just going into this, it says the prefix yad means he, or hawa'ah, which means he in Hebrew. And it says the meaning of the letter yad, ha'awat yad, which awat means letter. And it says yad, which is hand, is to bring forth. And when you bring forth stuff with your hands, it says this concept, excuse me, it says bring forth in a sense of creating or making, because when you think about it, all right, who are the builders? Who are the creators in a specific nation? Men bring forth stuff. Men build. Like when we look at the ancient world, like men were the builders. Even today, everything that was essentially, I guess, architecturalized, if that's a word, or stuff made in architecture was made by a man. So it says the meaning of the letter yad is to bring forth in a sense of creating or making something. This concept is directly related to how the ancient Hebrews defined males. The Hebrew word for son is ban, which when you break this word down, ba, we got ba, which meant bayat or house. Na is a seed, which is non, which means a seed or a lineage or to continue. Your seed and your lineage continue. So the house continues. So what allows for the house to continue? You would want to birth the son because that's what's going to continue. The house. Essentially, in the spirit, sons continue the legacy, continue the house. So it says the Hebrew word for son is ban, and it is related to the word bana, which bana goes into it has ba, which is house. The na, right, goes into a seed or a lineage. So the house continues. Behold, the house continues. Behold, because essentially the ha makes it bring forth attention to it. So it's building. You're building. So it says, which means build. Males were considered the builders, which is why the letter that basically meant make was used to represent the idea of he. So when you see Yah in a name, the Yah means he. Yah is used for males. All right. And when we actually look at this character right here, all right, this the hand right here. This part of the hand. That the top part is the hand, and then this will be the arm. So essentially, it looked like this, and that essentially, again, it represents males. For that one, could we get Genesis chapter 1 and verse 6, Baba Kusha?
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 6. And the Most High, or in the powers, said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters.
Khan, and I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to that Genesis 1 and verse 6, and it says, and the power said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Now, when we actually go into this right here, all right, when you go into the word for water, I'm actually drawing it on the board. And I'm gonna have you run that back, Baba Kusha.
Yeah.
All right. You can run it back, Baba Kusha.
Yeah. Genesis 1 and 6. And the powers said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters.
Right,
and
and
let it divide,
the word for firmament will be rakwayai,
and let it divide the waters from the waters.
right. So you got the upper waters above the firmament, and you got the waters that are beneath, on the earth. So it's divided by the firmament rakwayai, which when you ultimately go into this, they meet at the yah, and when you go into yah, it means a hand, right? So I'm gonna get the definition for a hand real fast. Salah, give me a second. All right, and this is the word for hand, and it says Yod H3027. It says hand of man, strength, power. It says side, part, portion. So when you part something, it says part, fractional part, or share. When something is parted, it means it's dividing. So essentially, where these two are divided, again, they meet at this division right here. That would be the firmament, and this is where the essentially how it's set up in the spirit. Like a visual picture. When we look at our Hebrew words, they essentially serve as pictures. You know, it's something that's alive. Whereas when you see it in English, if you see, all right, a cat or a dog, it's like, all right, a cat. It drinks milk. A dog, it barks. That's pretty much what you know. English is it's not logographic. It's another word for it, but it doesn't give you a picture. When we see things in Hebrew, it gives us a blueprint. So when we see Mayam, all right, ultimately it's going to give us a picture of what water is. All right, you got the waters above the firmament, you got the waters beneath, but then the firmament is what divides it.
Uh,
We can continue
Can I read this
to.
definition for you real quick?
Yeah, you got it.
It's a pictograph in the Free Dictionary. It reads a picture representing a word, phrase, or idea, especially one used in early writing systems.
Because pretty much when you look at even when you look at what was it, I think it's called kanji, or like Chinese, like the Chinese writing, they use a logo graphic. So they essentially had a it was like a some type of symbols, and it represented a vessel, 8 souls, and then a boat. It was pretty much giving a story of Noah, and his sons, So essentially, English again serves as is just words. They pretty much mixed up a whole bunch of words. But when we look at ancient writings, more specifically Hebrew, it's going to give us a picture. And ultimately, when you think about it, and when you see it in person, it's like, okay, this is what that is talking about. It gives a vision. It also goes into a story. Where it adds more. It adds more so to edification. It edifies when you see it.
Uh, Going back, this is where were we? Ka. So it's
You can skip that one.
okay, ka. So it's the next one is la, prefix la. Both the pictograph and the biblical Hebrew versions of lamad, of lamad depicted an upside down staff, indicating its function of extending one's reach. The idea of extending involves a point from which something is extended and a point to which something is extending. Thus, it would be in a specific direction toward, to, or from something, or for
Two,
something.
yeah, for something. So when you think about it, like physically, all right, if you had a shepherd, right, and he got a flock, he has a staff, you see. But if he was like, "Yo, go over here," he'd take the staff and like to there, that direction, or to here, So two essentially serves as it has to be directed towards something. So if the reason why it says two or four, really four wouldn't really be a, in this context, it wouldn't really be a word, because for, if I say, oh, this is for you, well, really, this is to you or towards you, because essentially it has to be pointing to a specific direction, So a lot of times it is to, and then sometimes in translation you'll see for, because in different contexts, for, it really just means, oh, it's to this person. If you was to write a letter, in English, and was to try to mail it, you'll say, okay, this is from this person, and this for this person or to this person. Essentially they serve in this thought process. It essentially serves as the same word. So just to get an example of that, could we get Psalms 23 and verse 4?
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 23, and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me.
Right, ultimately talking about the scriptures, we're led, by our shepherd, who is Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. All right, he has that the staff, the rod and the staff, ultimately going into the scriptures. You see, but when we put it in like a physical sense, all right, because again, it shows a picture. If you got a staff and you point to a direction, it's like, hey, do this, go this way, you know.
Uh,
So from that, we can get Ma.
can I get a precept for you real quick?
Yeah, you got it.
This is Psalm 119 and 71. It reads, "It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes." Right? So that word learn goes into that lamad, right? Which is going back to being directed or being taught, right? Receiving the instruction from an authority. So like I said, I've been afflicted that I might learn, right? You learn through suffering, man, right?
Mhm.
So that's being taught, just as the sheep, right? They would be directed with that staff, right? And they would learn as a result.
Right. Kind of, and I got this too. Uh, it says, it's an excerpt. It says lamad. It says the lamad is the staff of a shepherd used to direct and control the flock. It says the verb lamad means to direct or to learn by showing the direction. And I got another precept. This is Quahalat Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and we'll get verse 11. It says, "The words of the wise are as golds, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd." So ultimately, what allows us to be I'm gonna go back to this word right here, lamad, which what allows us to be directed, what allows us to learn by someone showing us the direction is going tapping into the scriptures, and that's why la is used for to, because it's showing us, it's pointing toward a direction, like, hey, go this way.
Okay. Continuing on, the prefix ma, the letter mayam, began originally as a pictograph of water. The reason it is used as a prefix meaning from is because in Genesis 1, the first thing that existed when the Most High began creating everything was water.
So
Heaven. uh,
eat the meat, spit out the bones, but we'll get that precept. Let's go to Salah. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and verse 6.
Genesis 1 and 6. And the power said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters."
Right. So if it's a firmament, that word for firmament will be rakwayai. Cause you reading out of your sword, bro, or you got your phone?
I can pull up on the phone.
Kanye, could you get that word for firmament? Because again, when we see it, in Hebrew, all right, it's gonna give us a picture. So again, you got the upper waters, but then you got the lower waters.
It's a firmament, Strong's H75, Rakwaya. It says extended surface, expanse firmament. It says expanse flat as a base support, firmament of a vault of heaven, support
Mm-hmm.
waters above.
Mm-hmm.
It says considered by Hebrews as a solid and a supporting waters above.
Right. Waters above, and then you got the waters that's on the earth. So rakwayai, all right, that serves as the firmament. It's essentially dividing the upper waters from the lower waters. Now, just to get some more context on this, could we get Genesis chapter 7, and I believe it's verse 11?
This is Genesis 7. 7 and verse 11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened.
Right. I'm gonna get this in the NLT, and it says when Noah Nawach was 600 years old on the 17th. In the NLT, it says when Noah was 600 years old on the 17th day of the second month, all the underground waters erupted from the earth, because you got the waters on the earth, and it says, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky. So essentially, no, I'm gonna get NIV. Excuse me. It says in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were open. So essentially, showing that you got the waters that are above the firmament. So that's why. Oh, when you go into ma, all right, it goes into of or from, and I actually want to get the definition of and from. So when we go to this, so from definition, all right, it says indicating the point in space at which a journey, motion, or action starts. All right, I'm gonna go to the Merriam-Webster. Give me a second, and it says use as a function word to indicate the source, cause, agent, or basis. All right. Let me see synonyms. So it says amongst. It says amongst, out of. It says as in, out. So essentially, when you say, "Oh, this is from this," essentially you're showing some type of division, or you're saying this is of this. You're showing some type of division. So when we see the picture of Mayam, all right, essentially it says the waters from the waters. So this would serve as the best prefix for of and from. You see, because these two show some type of division. You know.
Uh, Kind of continuing on in that, it says the heaven and the dry ground was a result of him dividing the water in two separate instances, and everything else crafted from the ground. The idea is that everything originated from the first waters.
So pretty much again we get a picture of how it shows again the division right here from the firmament, and then how the upper waters are divided from the lower waters. But in the creation of water, right here, it's still all the same. You see, because when you refer to water, it's not just one water by itself. It will be mayam because it's referred to in the plural. Could you actually get that, Baba Kusha? Just the word for water.
Okay. You want the common definition or
Inside the
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 same verse?
BLB.
Okay. So, so this is water. It says Mayam,
Mm-hmm.
Strong's G 4325. Water, waters. Uh, that's pretty much it. The waters of the feet.
Could you go inside the it should be the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon?
God. It says water, the brother of what? Hold on, where? How far you want me to go down? Because I'm.
I get it. It says let me see. It says plural mayam. It says in contrast, which when we talk about the waters in the scriptures, pretty much when we see water, it's referred to as the waters. Generally it's not used as just water by itself, because when we're talking about just water, it wouldn't be maya, because when we look in Hebrew, maya goes into who, the word for who. So going back, it says I believe they took it right here. It says dual of primitive noun. The root word etymology says dual of primitive noun, but used in a singular sense. But generally, when we talk about water, it's waters. And like I said, I believe they took it out of the blue letter. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the prefixes we went over. We went over a, all right, which meant, all right, a is the first letter, so that's the first person, the beginning, the source. Ba is the house, bayat, all right, which essentially serves as in, all right, inside, within, all right. In Hebrew, when we talk about things that are in close relation, all right, is going to be ba. That's going to be the prefix. You see, but if you was to translate it, like say with a language like English, all right, you got by, with, at, on, near. All right, the prefix that is used is ba, is because essentially it shows some type of relation to the house. So then we got ha, which means the or to behold. You see, so it has to exist, or is about to exist. So behold is bringing attention into what's being spoken about. All right. Why, again, that serves as a tent peg or a hook, something that is used to add, moreover, and essentially something that's going to join or fasten something else to something else. Is going to be, they're going to be joined. It's going to be a pair, something that is together. All right, we went over Yah. All right, the builders, the builders, men are the builders. That's why Yah is used as the prefix for for men. All right, in the Lord's name, Yahweh, He exists. He is the ultimate creator, Yahweh Shai. He delivers. All right, He is the builders. Men are the builders. Yah Iquab, He supplants. Yah means He. Iquab means to supplant. You know La, staff, it means in two or four in a certain direction. you know and then the last one we went over was ma, which means of or from. So it gives you a picture of some type of division, because when you ultimately look at the word for from or of, if you're from something, all right, it has to show some type of division. So yeah, that was pretty much the Hebrew prefixes. Did you have anything else, bro?
La.
Conway, Adorar Tazaza Banaya Palo as well. That was a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wa Adorar Taza Adam Yash Yawam Tawablu as well. You all have a good day. While we can go ahead and close it out by saying Kahalayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, or Hahakwadash. A double honor to the elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you bros out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Wa shalom lakam, which is peace unto you all. A Yalak Dahaya Gadar, which is go be great. A shalom.
Shalom.